we're going to get started again. Our next speaker is actually going to address one of the questions that was asked about the platforms or systems that we use. Our team did a lot of research in different systems, and Credly was one of them. Another one was Open Badge Factory, which is the platform that we've decided to use at this point. And I think Jose could probably say a few more words about it, but we'll wait until afterwards and talk about it. We have been able to get the API, I believe, or get it integrated with our systems here. So one of my questions for you, Eric, is going to be if we can purchase a lifetime subscription before the U.S. Department of Education takes our grant money away, but we can talk about that later. So I'm very happy to introduce Eric Rousselle, joining us here on Zoom. He's the founding director and CEO of Open Badge Factory. And I know our team was very happy with the operational, the systems and the things that it would let us do is why they chose it. And so we're looking forward to hearing more from you. You are a pioneer in the digital badge industry. At the origin of you are at the origin of the Open Badge Passport platform, which is an alternative to Mozilla's Backpack and the Open Badge Factory services. An active member of the Open Badges community, involved for a number of years in developing and implementing Open Badge standards. So with that, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this seminar. I'm very happy to be here and to present about my topic will be, I would say, not so much about Open Badge Factory itself. Of course, you can ask me any questions about the platform, but more about the potential of Open Badges in higher education. But please, if you have any question, you can stop me during the presentation. I will try to keep, let's say, 10 minutes also for the question at the end of the presentation. So share my screen again. Can you see my screen? Sorry, it's not this one. This one. Can you see it? Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Good. Very good. Okay, so thank you very much for this introduction. So I must say that I have a background on higher. I've been a teacher a long time at the University of Oulu in north of Finland, working with development of learning management systems and portfolio systems and so on. So before to be an entrepreneur and to have a company, I've been working, teaching, let's say 15 years at the university. So today I will tell you about what we've been doing basically with Open Badges with our university customers. And first, I give you some background about our company. So Open Badge Factory, it's a Finnish company based in Oulu. You can see perhaps in Oulu on the map. You can see that it would have taken 10 hours and 35 minutes to come to visit you. So that's why we are doing it by Zoom. But I would love to visit you someday in New York. We started to work with Open Badges in 2013. So I met people from Mozilla in London in a conference, and I was very, very interested. I was working at this time with e-portfolios, but I got very interested in this concept of Open Badges because I found it very modular and let's say I saw a potential also for recognizing, for deploying better recognizing for learning. Our service are Open Badge Factory, which is a platform that you know because you are a customer, but the platform that you can use for creating, issuing, and managing badges. And Open Badge Passport, which is a backpack, an open and free system where badge recipients can receive the badges, share them, but also be endorsed. It's also a community platform, I would say. We have customers in about 50 countries, and we have our customers have issued around 5 million of badges And in Open Badge Passport, we have 320,000 users, so it's quite big community. And higher education is basically around 40% of our customers are from universities and training companies. And we also work a lot with NGOs and a bit with the businesses also. So first of all, I will go quickly because I'm sure that you already know about micro-credentials and digital badges, but just to tell you a bit about the way I see open badges. So badges are validated proof of learning. They are digital credentials that contain verifiable information and about skills and achievements. So basically, let's say that it's quite simple concept, and you can find the same ideas, of course, with certificates and diploma and so on. Badges are based on open standards. The standard developed by the Mozilla Foundation, the 1.0 format was already developed in 2013, I think. And after that, One EdTech, an US organization, has been basically developing the standard in collaboration with the players on the market. And Open Badge Factory has already moved to the Open Badge 3.0 standard, which make open badges verifiable credential. So to tell you a bit about the history of open badges, let's say that open badges has always been a bit suspicious in the higher education because because of the tradition of the, I would say, the bulletproof, diploma, the bulletproof credential, because it's an open standard. And one question was always about the credibility of the badge. What is the credibility of the badge? And from a technical point of view, the question of the credibility was that the 2.0 badges didn't give a very high level of verification of the data. But now with the 3.0, we basically align to the same technology which is used by the W3C verifiable credential standard, which is very good because I think now we will not hear anymore this discussion about, well, can we use badges? Is it really a serious micro credential and so on? Okay, open badges have been invited to recognize non-formal and informal learning, and but they are also widely used as micro credentials to validate and certify also formal learning. So I know that when experts speaks about badges and micro credentials, digital credentials, transcript, there is a lot of different kind of terms of words used about recognizing learning with these kind of artifacts. But basically, I like the word open badges because it's a bit more open in the way you can use them than micro credentials. So, but it's always a discussion, which is a bit not difficult for experts, but I think difficult for people who don't know much about badges. But in my opinion, what is very important when we speak about open badges, when we speak about micro credential, is to understand that, in fact, the open badges are used in specific context, and all these contexts have some history, some tradition, which is basically shaping the way badges are used. So I would not make big dissertation and explanation about what technical difference there is between a micro credential and an open badge, because basically there is none. But basically people are speaking about the same thing, but often in a different context, and that's why you can feel that they are not really speaking about the same thing. But about the context, let's say there is this map done by Serge Ravet, which is a French expert, about open badges and credentials. And you can see here that basically all depend on the...
Eric, we're not seeing the next screen. We're still seeing your journey from Finland to New York.
Really? Okay. So it's very strange. I have to share again. Perhaps what I could do, I could share, sorry, my screen and not only one window. Okay. This one. Okay. And this one. Can you see now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was in this, and then I moved from this one to what is an open badge, and now I am in this map here. So this is mapping a bit the ways that badges can be used. So you have, let's say, when we speak about micro-credentials, in my opinion, it's using the same technology, but more in the tradition of recognition of formal learning. So we are here in the micro-credentials, nano-diploma, competency badges. And this is often, let's say, a starting point for universities. You have a course. After the course, you can issue micro credential to validate some achievement. Okay. But at the same time, with Open Badge Factory, you can use basically badges in all different contexts, because we have tools and strategy to support different kind of approaches. So, for example, when we work with some universities that wants to recognize both, let's say, formal training, achievements, but also soft skills, co-curricular activities, different kind of practices inside the university which are not really formal. Then they can use open badges with peer endorsements. Badges can be basically, in some cases, students can even create what we call self-issued badges. So if you want to measure a bit I would say, the culture in your organization about badges, often if I speak about a self-issue badge, which means that the student can create its own badge or her own badge and then get endorsed later by a peer, why not by a teacher? Often it's quite difficult to speak about this kind of use of the badge in a higher education sector, because in higher education often the background, the culture is about, I would say, certification. And in certification, of course, a certification is always done by the authority, which is the university itself. So let's say the whole value of the badge is really much based on the issuer of the badge. If you speak about the self-issue badge, which is at the other side of this map, it means that basically it's more a portfolio badge that the learner can tell with the badge what he or she can do. And then after that, the recognition or the validation come from other source than the traditional, I would say, authority. This map is just to show you that basically open badges can be used in different contexts with different, I would say, cultural backgrounds. For me, a badge is both. It's a record, it's a learning record, okay? But it's a marker and a connector. A marker means that the badge is very good to make visible achievements, and can also be used not only for being, let's say, a certificate after something has been achieved, but also very good to visualize learning pathways. So I will tell you soon, but in many universities, the building a visible, I would say, badge system, and that you can display, in a web page. It's a way to communicate what are the important values or what are the important skills for the university that you as a student you should basically go for. So, and in many cases also the badges are used like to scaffold and to basically help the students to go step by step in long, I would say, programs that help them to see where they have to go. Okay, but badges are also a communication tool. They are also connectors, and this is very important because when you design your badge system or your badge, you should already, in the design of the badge, think about the possibility for the learner, for the student, to use his or her badge for communicating the skills that you have recognized to potential, let's say, employers, to a network where he or she will work. So you see here in my picture on the right side that basically you could have a very micro-credential approach that I would say that the issuing organization, the university, is issuing a credential, and the credential is received by the badge recipient. In some case, if it can be internal, so the badge can have just a meaning because you have complete something, you just get basically certified for that. But if you really think about the value of the badge and you want to give the possibility for the learner to communicate and use it, you should think, what is the value of the badge for this recipient? And in this case, you are going to go further and to think, what is the value of the badge for the endorsers, for the consumer of the badge, for the network? So the value of a badge is always a chain of value. Basically, it's not only the value that you as an issuer placed in the badge, is the value that this badge will have in the community. That's why in Open Badge Factory, we have a very much focus on badge endorsement, because the fact that the badge can be endorsed, it's basically being recognized by the network. It's basically gives more value for the badge when the badge recipient see that this badge has been received, let's say by endorsed, let's say by 20 employers working in collaboration with the universities. Okay, so what is important also in our Open Badge Factory approach is that the Open Badge for us is not only the end of the process, it's not only an outcome. Okay, it can be enriched. It can be basically enriched with different kind of evidence or endorsed by peer. So I show you here an example of Open Badge, which is basically has been sent to Open Badge Passport. So you can see in the middle the badge, and you can see that this badge has an evidence, and the evidence is here on the right side. So meaning that when this is what we call a badge application, when the student has applied for the badge, he or she has basically filled in some information in a form, provide some evidence. The evidence has been baked in the badge. So when the badge is open, you can access the evidence. But you can see that this badge has also 4 endorsements. So this means that you can see in the right side, you can see 4 people as recognized basically the learner for this badge. And in the other side, on the right top corner, you can see also that the issuer of the badge, Open Recognition Alliance, has been also endorsed by 4 organizations. And in Open Badge Passport, we have also the possibility to, the learner wants to display badges on the map, so that you can see what skills, where skills people are basically in your area. So here you can see, basically, I would say here you can see how to get the full value of the badge. So you have endorsement at 3 level. You can be, as an issuer, endorsed by your network. Secondly, your badge can be issued by your partners. And thirdly, the badge recipient will be able to get endorsement by his or her colleagues, peer, and so on. So how universities and schools use badges in general? So if I try to map a bit what has been going on now for nearly 10 years with universities. So let's say that the common way to use badges in many universities around the world, it's micro-credentialing. There are certifications, okay? So after a course, often there is an integration with learning management system, and after the course, the badge is issued automatically by Open Badge Factory or after a MOOC. So this is a typical way to use badges. But there is also, and often it's the same universities where badges are used, I would say, in a traditional certification approach or way. There is often also some development and innovative approach on recognition of co-curricular activities and soft skills. I will tell you about the cultural difference. In different countries, you have different kind of focuses. But let's say that soft skills often in Europe, it's a word which is coming very often. Then there is a supporting student engagement approach and volunteer work, which is, you can see in many universities, promotion of common values. For example, badges which are developed by different kind of university networks. So universities working together, and they want to have common badges basically for displaying common values and common objectives. Badges are used also for goal settings. As I said, they are markers. You can scaffold learning processes with badges. For example, in France, in Caen University in France, they had a big distance, learning or distance education project where students had really difficulty to there was a lot of dropout, and they used badges for basically visualizing different kind of steps in the process, and they could basically avoid a lot of dropout in this kind of distance education courses. It was during the COVID, because during the COVID, many people had to go for distance learning. Badges can be also used in pedagogical processes as tools for promoting competence-based and reflective learning. So in Open Badge Passport, for example, we have developed what we call spaces. And in these spaces, it's possible for the customers to set up learning, I would say a learning environment, which is totally based on badges. So badges are objectives, and based on these badges, they can use badge application, they can use different kind of techniques. But the idea that the badge is at the beginning and the badge is at the end of the process. So it's to basically change a bit, shift a bit the balance between training and recognition. Often we speak about recognizing competencies, but we are basically nearly always starting with training, training first and that recognition at the end. It's possible to basically put the competencies and the skills first, to put them with the badge on the first position, and then to go for training if you need to have training for getting this badge. But the badge could be also got with experience, with recognition of prior skills and so on. And in Finland, I will tell you, we have also badges are used also for promoting professional development for teachers. And now, if we speak a bit about the cultural difference between countries, let's say that around the world, as I say, badges are micro-credentials, used as credentials, in many universities. That's a kind of common ground. In France, they are used to support pedagogical processes and to recognize soft skills. There are two big things. Soft skills are very important, and to bridge a gap between university and the world life. In UK, there is a word engagement with it coming very, very much, and volunteer work. It's a typical, I would say, British approach of digital badges or open badges. Volunteer work, it's really a sector where badges are used a lot. And in Finland, we have this promoting and managing a professional development for teachers. So what is very interesting, in many countries, badges are for students. Often we think about recognizing what the students learn at the university. But in Finland, they really don't use much badges with students. They use badges with teachers, which is quite interesting. And in EU, as I said before, there is the need to have a badge system for recognizing, let's say, collaboration between universities. So there are common badges for values and for actions. Sorry, I just have 3 minutes, so I will be quick. So just to show you what can be done with badges at university level, I didn't want to go to explore so much what is done with certificates, what is done with soft skills, because I'm sure that you already do it. But what is interesting in Finland, it's this Oppiminen Online, which was a first big program for Finnish teachers 8 years ago, and now they're still doing it. So it's still running for thousands of Finnish teachers. And what was interesting in this 60 credits program, it was a program for recognizing ICT skills and pedagogical skills of the teacher. And why using badges for that? Because in university, it's very difficult to have a clear view of what are the competencies of your teachers. You have teachers coming all the time, leaving all the time. They are working in different projects. They are working in different sectors. So it's quite difficult to have a clear view of what are the competencies, what they should learn also, what kind of development you should conduct at the university level. So what they have done, they have created, I think, 60 or 75, I can't remember exactly, badges. And the first approach was to create 75 courses in Moodle. And after the courses in Moodle, the teacher would receive the badges. But then we noticed that only 10% of the teacher actually took the badges. And then we analyze a bit what is the problem here. And the problem was, okay, the teacher didn't know much about open badges, first of all. But the problem was that they didn't value it because they felt that they had to go to a training for learning things that often they already knew. So we flipped the whole approach and developed what we call a badge application. And then our customer created 75 badge application and gave the possibility for the teachers to apply with a form, to apply to the badge. And then using this, not this push approach, but this pull approach, we noticed that the reception rate of the badges by these teachers was around 85 to 90%. And it's something which is very important because We noticed also that the motivation of the teacher really grew very much because, of course, when you apply for a badge and you can produce something because you know that you can do it, you just produce some evidence. You are basically assessed by some expert, and you get the badge. All the chain of recognition has a big value for the learners. But what was interesting in this project that we noticed that only 16% of the teachers actually needed training. Not 100% of the teacher, but only 16% of the teacher needed. Because with open badges and badge application, our customers could recognize prior skills of these teachers. And I think that this is a point where I want to end my presentation, so that that badges are not only for recognizing what you achieve after a training, but badges are very good for recognizing and making visible things that learners already know. And in many cases, it's also a good way to save a lot of money, because in this project, they had a big budget for creating courses in Moodle, but they didn't have much for supporting teachers. When they noticed that they had only basically 16% of the teachers who needed training and support, while they could basically use the money in much more effective way, than to set up a big project. Okay, I'm sorry I spoke a bit too much. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, Eric. That was very informative. Yay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from anyone? Okay, we will. Jose, do you have, okay, you're just testing your microphone? That's a tech person for you, just testing the microphone.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Ben has a question for you.
Eric, when we were looking for platforms for micro-credentials for digital badges, we saw features that we don't find very often in other platforms, like, for example, the spaces, right? But I still don't know quite well how these spaces can be leveraged, right? So is a space similar to a learning management system that you offer, or is another role? What is the role of the spaces of the service that you offer?
Okay, because we have noticed that some universities didn't want only to issue badges and just to send the badge, and let's say that they didn't know much about what happened with the badge, but wanted to basically deploy some I would say badging activities or badging strategy for a very clear community, well-defined community. So the idea of the space, it's a bit like a learning management system. So it's inside the Open Badge Passport, you can have your own university area in which you can basically build some goals based on the badges, and then your learner will basically click this badge application, apply for them, and then you will be able in the space to follow the evolution inside the space. So it can be used for a different kind of learning project. If you want to have a competency-based learning project, it's very good. It's not starting, with, as I say, with a Moodle or with any, formal learning management approach. It can be also very dynamic, because you can have your students in different groups. You can propose them different kind of badges. And what is very interesting, that you can basically assess or evaluate the impact of your badging strategy on your group. So you can set up group level or community level objectives and see if you want. Let's say, for example, in Finland, if they want that every teacher can use, let's say, AI at basic level before the end of the year, they could do it in the space. So there is an AI badge and they can set up, okay, 100% of teachers and Christmas, and then they can see on real time where they are in these goals. So let's say that it's a big advanced approach. For me, there are two, I would say, steps in badging strategy. Many customers are in the step one, which means that, okay, they use badges for recognizing learning, that's all. And often it's individual badging, you know what I mean? So at the end, even you badge thousands and thousands of students, you just badge individuals. But basically using spaces, you go to, I would say, strategy 2.0, meaning that you not only badge people, but you can see the impact of your badging activity on your community, basically.
Great, thank you. I see Jose smiling over there. We can keep track of things. Okay.